Hey, everybody, welcome into another episode of the WTH podcast. We're home, and I left a couple pieces of equipment at the office, and I hear myself on a slight delay. So that's why I sound drunk at times, and why I have to go with one headphone off. Otherwise, I just lose my mind. Gentlemen, this is going to be a very off-the-cuff show. Just because of everything that's been going on. Let's start with you, Jason. What would you like to talk about?
I keep coming I think one of the things that upsets me really a lot is when I see people that have are at least one generation of Californian. All right, they were raised here, they were born here, they were raised here by parents that maybe came from another place, but at least have been here for one, uh, for their whole life. Um, and people that have been here for like three generations, um, and hear them or see them complain or talk shit about the state or where we're at as a state when they are building a custom home that's 5,000 square feet, and has multiple vehicles and a custom backyard, has this beautiful view that everybody can see as they drive by on the freeway. I'm sorry, you don't get to complain about how horrible the state is because it obviously has done very well for you. No matter how hard you work or whatever you do, good for you. But you have multiple houses that you own. You've built your own house. This state has helped give you a lot because the state offers a lot of opportunity in the social programs that exist here and have existed here for decades. So to say or complain about shit here that you benefited if you went to a public school from, and if you ever were on welfare or any type of assistance in the state, which I know, like my dad's ex-wife, I know both my sisters were on assistance when they were growing up because my dad was a dirtbag and wasn't paying child support, at that time. Um, so I just, it just really frustrates me because you don't get to complain when you've achieved so much. And I realize that you've worked hard for what you have, but you have a lot. You have a lot. And if you have a lot and you have too much for your family and you're not giving back to the public or I don't know. There's a quote that I heard, and I know it's totally socialist and possibly Marxist, but it's something along the lines of, if you have too much and others have too little, then you are a thief, and you deserve to lose what you have. Something along those lines. But if you have too much and somebody else has too little, and you're in this type of capitalist society, anyhow, it's really upsetting to me. Do you guys get upset about shit like that? Are you guys upset about it?
Well, I have noticed that it's the people that have the most shit are the ones that can talk about how shitty California is. But you got all the stuff that you got in California. And trust me, I'm from North Carolina. I've had families in other states. They're not making the money that they're making out here. My aunt and uncle sold their house in LA, moved to North Carolina, and built a house pretty much on a golf course and had money to live off the rest of their life. And all he complained about was, my uncle complained all the time about being in North Carolina and not being able to make the money that he was making out here. Like side hustling, he couldn't make money like he was making money out here. Is it me? I just lost. Oh,
No, sorry about that. I forgot that the air cleaner or the air purifier was on.
yeah.
Continue.
We can't hear Nate.
Yeah.
Um, But
Yeah.
but my uncle complained all the time about how he couldn't make the money here that he made back, that he back there out here. He couldn't do it. Uh, and I think I say it all the time, especially about people in Sacramento, that they take for granted the shit the opportunity that's offered here. They take them for granted, and they don't take nearly enough advantage of the opportunities that are presented to them here. Like right now, I got a niece that I had an offer to give her, get her in the Secretary of State's office as an intern, and she turned it down because she didn't want to wear a blouse. And now she works at fucking Kiki's Chicken. Like you go home smelling like chicken every day, but you didn't want to wear a blouse for a job that would help advance you in so many different ways.
In a big,
so many opportunities.
Really though. I mean,
but this is the Sacramento, the California mentality.
I think it partially is California mentality. I wish Nate was here to hear this part, but when I lived in New York, like the 3.5 months that I was living in New York City in 2001, 2002. It was this guy John used to always say that I was so Californian and I was like too laid back, like just this like laid back, laissez-faire attitude about life and not having that, not understanding the importance of that drive, maybe that I don't know, like that's there in New York and is not necessarily here in California in the same way. Yeah. Does that make sense? I mean,
no, it makes perfect sense because most of the successful people that I know here aren't from here.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the people that I know here that are successful people, they're not from here. They're from somewhere else. And the people here, and we have the conversation all the time about how people here don't hustle like people from other places.
What?
And so they leave a lot of fruit on the tree.
Ironically, the people who are picking the fruits off the trees are from other places too.
That is true.
Just saying.
Yeah.
And this isn't to say something about like, I mean, my belief that like people are incredibly underpaid, and there's a huge like that, you know, people should be able to pay for rent like in the state of California, and there should be tax, like there should be something in regards to that, you know, and stuff like that. But like your niece, right? Is your niece? You said like. If she wants to work 40 hours at Kiki's Chicken, she should. If she wants to do that, that's fine. That's fine. And if she does that, she should be able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment in the city that she's working at that place in. And I think that is very minimum.
Jason, that's not fine. It's not fine. No, it's not fucking fine. No.
You don't think that's fine?
No, it's not fine.
You should be able.
Are you blaming Kiki's Chicken for this whole thing?
No. You
love Kiki's Chicken.
I love what I'm saying is, you should be able to work at a job for 40 hours, and you should be able to afford a place to stay. You should be able to afford a place to live, and you should, that in whatever city you're working that job in. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying.
Okay, so that part I agree with you on.
But I mean, at the same time, like. When you're at work, you gotta hustle. I mean, like, I do that. Like, I think what he was talking about is like that hunger to get out there and hit the ground running, as far as like creating opportunity for myself in a way that's like, you know what I mean? Like, there was no direction when I was out there trying to be an actor. Nobody could point me in anything. I didn't have any mentor. I didn't have somebody to say, hey, this is how you do this. Oh, you don't have a headshot. Well, at the bare minimum, get this, do this, that type of thing, right? I had 3.5 months, and I should have figured out if I had that fire in me, like I should have, or thought that I did, and always believed that I did. Then in that 3.5 months, I should have figured it out, you know, somehow, possibly, you know. And I guess what I'm saying is that it's not that I probably don't have that fire in my heart, but I wonder if it's something about, like you said, about being a Californian, that it's just like it's not quite I don't know, and it could just be me too. Maybe I'm just a fucking lazy underachiever.
So Saturday before the two women that were in the gallery when you guys got there Saturday.
Yeah.
So one of them was asking, well, how can I do this? Now, mind you, 2 years ago, maybe it's 3 years ago now, we were doing a shoot there for for families who families who didn't have a lot of money. So we were going to do like heads, like Christmas pictures for them. And I ended up getting stuck in North Carolina longer because my dad died. So I told the specific person, I said, "Hey, I'm not going to be there, but you be there and go take the pictures, and then that way you can meet the gallery owner, and then you can get in." I was in North Carolina. She didn't show up. And this is what happens all of the time.
Yeah.
So people will be like, well, how do you know A, B, and C, or how do you do these things? And I'm like, I show up. And a lot of it, most of being there is showing up.
Yeah. So I guess maybe that because I'm making it sound like I don't do that and show up and be part of and when I need opportunity that I don't create opportunity. Like when I need opportunity and I need to create something, I do. I make it manifest and I make it happen.
Yeah. So you need to you need to do that all the time. not just when you're like, I got $20 left for 2 weeks and then I need to make some money. No, when you're up, you need to act like you're broke and hustle that way when you're up.
Yes, I get that.
Was it Steve Aoki's father is the owner of what's one of those restaurants that's like a huge restaurant? The one where they set the food on fire.
Benihana.
Yeah, his dad's the owner of Benihana, and his dad was like, "Yeah, that's my money. You need to go make your own." And that's what he did.
Yeah.
So and like I said, you gotta hustle when you're up. Treat it like you're down, and keep it going.
Yeah, you got to kick them when they're up, kick them when they're down, kick them when they're up, kick them when they're down.
Put it down.
I mean, it all comes back to a Don Henley song, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ultimately?
And Jason, and not to say that single you out, because I'm guilty of it at times myself.
Hey, you deadbeat.
And sometimes, and it was something I was reading today. Sometimes it's just being comfortable, and it's like,
well, I mean, that's the thing, So here, I made myself very comfortable as far as how I've been pushing myself creatively. All right, because I mean, when it comes down to financially, there's not really a whole lot more I can do with being a full-time dad. And also being part of a family the way that I am. And not only that, we're fine. We're doing, like you said, I mean, I don't need to hustle at this moment right now. If I wanted to hustle more, I probably could, but at the same time, I'd be worn out and I'd have less time with my wife and the family and stuff like that. And I'm very fortunate to have that. But I took opportunity and I told myself finally, after taking a stop from the comedy spot, which I fell back into, was very easy. I didn't do anything on my own during that time. Comfortable. You know what I mean? I was comfortable. I've been here since 2015. And the only thing I did was do stuff at the comedy spot. I didn't, aside from the podcast. Not the podcast, but I mean the podcast.
Right? I'm sitting here going, what the fuck, man?
No. I mean, but this is different than me getting on stage or doing, playing a part. I'm playing myself here. I'm not, I'm not acting like somebody else, which is something that I enjoy doing.
Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do.
Yes.
Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do a podcast where we don't play ourselves. It'll be like watching the Fox News opinion folks.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just be playing an outrageous character from some farce.
No, that's what let's do that for a couple weeks.
He's a farcical character.
Yes.
Not even right.
Man.
And by the way, that's attested to in a court of law. He's a farcical character that no one can take seriously.
Exactly.
It's legal precedent now. We can laugh at it, but it's actually legal precedent.
It is.
Unfortunately.
I mean, Fox in general.
Yeah, the evenings mostly, but yeah. So Kareem, you wanted to you mentioned the last segment of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Yes.
Jason, did you get a chance to see that?
I saw some of it. I did not see all of it.
Okay.
But I know that it's about bankruptcy and about personal bankruptcy and the cost of it and how, right?
No.
Is that the one you're talking about?
No,
It's not. Not at all. Not at all. It's about online tracking.
Oh my God. You know what's funny is I played what was the next episode.
What do you mean the next episode? You mean the previous episode?
Well, no, I just never mind. I was on my HBO Max on my app on the and I clicked on John Oliver and started watching, and I'm way behind, obviously.
Gotcha.
So sorry.
So
it's not about Breaking Bad.
So basically, and Kareem, you can correct me if I miss anything important in this description. They talked about how middlemen are tracking you online, tracking your movements online using cookies. And I know in California, I don't know about in other places, but I know in California, you have to set your cookie preferences now, which is I prefer chocolate chip, but that's not an option. But every time you go to a new website, and sometimes even when you don't, you have to set, hey, don't sell my private data.
Yep.
And it's very easy to find private data. People have done it to stalk people. People have done it it's mostly marketing. And really the only people that can do anything about it is Congress. So John Oliver and his staff have done quite a bit of tracking to the Washington, D.C. area. So they found out some very interesting things. It would also explain why I keep getting ads for Kizik, even though I enjoy their shoes. I bought their shoes. I own their shoes. I don't need any more ads for their shoes.
Right.
But they want me to buy more.
Well, that's the thing I hate about fucking Netflix right now. Like, there's not a way. Like, there's not an easy way, at least on the app that I have on the TV and on my Xbox. There's not a way to remove something that's suggesting that you see, even if you've watched it. You watched all the episodes, and you've it knows that you watched them because you watched them on Netflix. That's the only place you could have watched it. And you go to it, and you see the bar all the way across. Yet for some reason, it's still hanging out as, hey, you should watch this. No, I fucking already did, bitch.
Watch it again?
No, it's not watch it again. It's just motherfuckers.
So
yeah, put it on watch it again. There's a whole fucking other area for that shit.
Do you want to watch it again? Do you want to watch it again for the first time? For the first time?
You better shut the fuck up.
It feels like the first time, like it never did before.
Oh my God.
It feels like the first time. Like it never will again. Never again. Yeah, I'm just 80s lyrics. That's what's happening in the show tonight.
You're just cold-blooded, bro. You're cold-blooded.
Yep, we have this is what happens when we can't play sounds for you is we go into our brains for the weirdest things, and that's what lives in mine because I'm old and not that smart. Full disclosure.
So the reason why John Oliver did what he did was he pointed out the fact that Congress doesn't want to regulate it, and the only time that Congress has regulated anything like that was when Robert Bork was nominated, and there was a reporter that went into the Blockbuster and asked for his rental history, and they gave it to him. And then once they figured out that they were susceptible to somebody doing that to them, then they passed the rental privacy law.
Well, yeah, you don't want people being able to find out what porn you rented.
Right. And so, I came across the story or the information about the episode because somebody posted on either Reddit or Twitter saying that he was blackmailing Congress.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
a
I was like,
stretch.
that's a stretch. Yeah,
It's
like,
a stretch. I mean,
sounds like so.
technically, I guess.
Yeah,
Technically, I guess he is. Do something about it, or we'll release all of this data that we have
yeah,
that literally anybody could get.
yeah. So you know all those people that are riding those scooters and those bikes around town,
Mm-hmm.
and you know how there was a point that they disappeared for a minute.
Yeah, right around the start of COVID.
Yeah. So the people that own the company just left the fucking bikes and just because all they were doing using the bikes were to collect data so that they could sell it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the actual cost of the equipment was negligible
Yeah.
because it was just a means to an end.
Yeah.
Which
So
allowed a secondary company to come in, buy the stuff for cheaper, all the tax write-offs, start up a new business, new company. It's just a shell game.
Well, yeah,
Literally.
Lime Scooters bought up the jump bikes, which were owned by
Yeah.
Uber. Which, by the way, if you think Uber is a rideshare company, now you know they're not really a rideshare company.
No.
they are a data mining company.
They're a data mining company. Any company that runs itself off an app is making a back channel amount of money with data that they're getting based upon what you buy, where you go, all of those other things. So that's just the trade-off that we've made.
Yeah.
We weren't given the option, by the way. The option is you have a flip phone and don't have access to the internet. The problem is you have to have access to the internet.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you a little story about the internet. It starts out with the internet. So back in February, and this ties into the HBO Max that I didn't have, but I should have had. It'll all make sense. So my wife has AT&T wireless and has had DirecTV for a very long time. And we got our internet through AT&T. So it was all bundled as one bundle under one big fun umbrella. Until February, when I found out, we can get gig speed internet using our cable company in the neighborhood, and AT&T is still stuck at 50 megabytes. So
I already know what's going to happen.
So I got the cable internet in here, which is great, love it, and we canceled the AT&T internet. Now, I called somebody to do that. We had a conversation. I said, so this is not going to affect anything else? Nope, it is not going to affect anything else. Fast forward a couple of days, and we don't have HBO Max anymore. We still have HBO on the DirecTV, but we don't have HBO Max.
Oh, buddy, yeah, it's a free service with the internet.
It's not a free service with the internet. No, it's part of the subscription. We're getting there. It's part of the subscription to HBO.
Yeah.
And I call and I'm on the phone with not one, but two different people, two different times for a very extended period of time. They tell me it's a known issue, but they don't know how to fix it. And it could be up to 2 months before they figure it out. 2 billing cycles. And I'm like, well, fuck. They credited, to their credit, they did credit us for 2 months of HBO. Whoop-de shit. Fast forward to a couple of days ago, and we get a past due notice in the mail from DirecTV, which is weird because all of that stuff is on autopay and paperless billing. So it was really weird to get it and find out that we were, in fact, past due. I called DirecTV this morning. They were no help at all. I called AT&T this afternoon, and I finally got somebody who was able to shed some light upon things. And apparently what's happened is when the internet went away, the bundle broke up. And because my wife has been a DirecTV customer for so long that she is what they call a legacy and is not in the system that AT&T has access to. She's in the old system, which is really fucking weird because she was able to be in the new system when it was bundled together. But when the bundle went away, no more. Okay? But no one told us this. And suddenly we're getting this, you're going to get disconnected notice. But finally I talked to them and I'm like, okay, so now we know what the problem is. And I talked to somebody at DirecTV again, and she's okay, well, you need to go online to set up your auto bill pay and all this other stuff. And I said, here's the problem. I can't log in to the DirecTV account. It logs in, gives me an error message that we don't seem to have TV on the account. And then it boots me back out again. And and finally she transfers me to their digital department. And God bless Alejandro. He was trying and he was apologizing about every
Of
48
course.
seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at Alejandro. He ultimately solved the problem. He's not very good at his job, but he ultimately solved the problem. And we were able to, I had to create a new login and get it. And here's what Alejandro did. He goes, okay, I'm going to create a temporary password for you so you can log in. And he goes, I've tested it, so go ahead and use it and tell me what happens. Well, it wouldn't let me use it because, of course, a temporary password can be used one freaking time. So Alejandro, when you used it, you done used it. It's like a condom. You can't use it again. It's done. It's not multiple use. Ultimately, finally, he created one, said, I'm not going to test it. Go ahead and try it. So I get in, and then I have the option to change my password. And you have to put your previous password in. Now, the problem is the previous password was a one-time use password, so I can't use that to change the password. You see where this is going?
Yeah.
Ultimately, today, I spent 3.5 hours on the phone with DirecTV and AT&T to find out that, one, nobody knows what's going on in the other part of their company. 2, no one really knows what's going on. And 3, if you don't have the internet, you apparently can't pay your bill. Which goes back to, yes, this is the agreement we've made, but we didn't necessarily get a say in it. Because if you want to have any service of any kind, then you're going to have to do that, unless you're going to be somebody who's like, screw it, I'm just going to get a TV with an antenna.
And if you want to go to a website and you want to look at the website, you can go ahead and accept the cookies, or you can say you don't accept the cookies, and then you have to go to another web page and then put in information, and then you can go back and then not, it's not as easy as just saying not to, as saying no, do not collect my cookies.
Well, there's the strictly necessary cookies, and you can't opt out of those because they're strictly necessary.
Right.
But I will say that let me just close in saying this: fuck you, AT&T, you useless sack of monkey shit.
Oh man, can I tell? I probably have spent at least 40 hours on the phone with them in the last 6 years. Probably.
And that's light. I've spent more than 10 hours on the phone with these assholes.
Oh no! Listen, this majority of this.
By the way, I have HBO Max back now because
Awesome.
I can log in through DirecTV because, hey, it knows who I am. Well, isn't that delightful? Although everything that we've watched, we're gonna have to go back in and rebuild all of the lists and shit like that, and won't remember what we've watched because it's a different login. It's like having a whole new account.
It wasn't until October of 2019, so 4 years after I initiated my relationship with AT&T, that I did not like. That's the last time I've had a long call with them like that. Since then, not once.
I hate it. The only telecom company I hate more than them is Verizon.
Oh fuck, man. They have my phone, man.
Verizon, I hate Verizon because if you live where I used to live in the Northeast, they got in early and then they bought out the small companies. And if you wanted to have a cell phone and have any service, you had to have Verizon. You were stuck with them. And don't think they didn't fuck you dry with no lube.
Oh, I believe
just because you didn't have it. Your only other option was to get Sprint. And if you had Sprint, then if you were in a city or along a highway, it worked.
Yep.
And as soon as you got about 2-3 miles off,
Can you hear me
It
now?
did not.
That was a problem I had. I had that problem when I would go to North Carolina.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
That was
Man.
the
Back in the
that
day,
was
I was Metro poor. You know what I mean? The Metro PCS. There's nothing worse than that, man. I mean, that
I will tell you this. I had Sprint and now I have T-Mobile because they were bought out. And T-Mobile, it sounds like it's yeah, I know it's a jive thing. They do a get thanked on Tuesdays. They have this app and they have deals with all these companies that get you discounts. They get extra cents off gas at Shell. They have a Dunkin' Donuts thing that they do. The one thing they have that I really love is MLB TV is free if you're a T-Mobile customer, and that's $125 value if you get it early, $135 if you were to wait on the MLB.TV. So that's that's more than a month's worth of cell service basically covered. You know, the whole thing, the rental of the phone and all that other stuff. So I know it's a jive thing, but no one else is giving. It's free stuff. It's free. It's free stuff.
Now look, now I'm gonna have to download the app.
Well, are you a T-Mobile customer?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you better get on it quick because I don't know how much longer that offer is there.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll do it after we finish tonight.
Right. So, anywho, yeah, that's one of the things with that. How do you feel about Marsha Blackburn calling for a wall on? It says she put out a tweet saying Tennesseans want a wall on our southern border, which made me wonder, why are you so afraid of Alabama? And that was apparently a very common theme that came across. Some people added Mississippi as well. Georgia, which is also on the southern border of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Why are you so afraid? Now, Georgia, I understand. Marjorie Taylor Greene's there.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Herschel Walker, soon to be Senator Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
No, he's not gonna. Sir, he lives in Texas, so
Herschel?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be a senator from Georgia.
He's not gonna be a senator from Georgia.
Look, man. Right now, it's looking pretty good for him.
That's what you're saying right now.
That's what
That's what they said. The other two before they lost.
Right. But were the other two University of Georgia heroes? Did they win Heisman trophies for the University of Georgia? They did not.
Trust me, Stacey Abrams is not going to let him win.
That's why Marsha Blackburn wants the wall for Georgia to keep Stacey Abrams out of Tennessee.
Yes.
You don't want Stacey Abrams at your door.
No, you don't want her in there getting. You don't want her there getting people to vote and all that other happy stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been a very weird thing. Yeah, baseball has started, and my Angels are now a 500 team as they won today. I was very excited. Wow. There we go. Let me really quickly while we're talking. I'm looking at trending on Twitter. Jimmy Carter is trending, which always worries me.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Passed away.
Oh, worst inflation last month since America fired Jimmy Carter and turned to Ronald Reagan for new leadership. Yeah, that's the new thing. They're trying to villainize Jimmy Carter again.
Well, they tried to villainize Stacey Abrams for making money.
Right. Yeah, Trump did that. We talked about that on the show.
Yeah.
And also for her being in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like it was like, so it's like, why do they have to be woke on? It's like, bitch, have you ever watched Star Trek? Like, for you to think that it's not woke in the first place? I mean, that's been the woke TV show like since the beginning.
It was woke before people said what woke was. By the way,
hold it. A woman glued her wrist to the floor in the middle of this T-Wolves and Clippers game and had to get pulled off.
Oh, A woman in the assembly the other day glued her hand to to a table, like and saying that she wasn't going to leave. She put super glue on her hand, put it on the table, and said she wasn't going to leave. What was it
So-
for? What was it for, Chris?
It was a hearing. I think it was like an animal rights group.
Oh, it was an animal rights group. Yeah, of course. They're the one.
Okay.
The only one's crazier than the anti-vaxxers are them.
So I'm looking at part of her T-shirt because you can't see all of it from the picture, but it looks like animals is on the T-shirt.
Oh, so maybe they're doing a thing right now where they glue themselves to things. That's their new. I mean, with all this shit going on right now. I mean, I love animals, but like all this shit going on right now, like, come on, let's focus on some other shit, dude. Come on.
I googled women glue self, and the first news result is how to avoid sober shaming by friends when you give up drinking. That's from the South China Morning Post, in case you're wondering what's going on the other side of the world.
Glenn Taylor roasts animals alive is what's on her T-shirt.
Well, that's not okay. I mean, unless you're talking about a lobster.
So he's the
And they could be.
he's the owner of the Timberwolves. So
Oh, gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know anything about that, so we'll
Yeah.
I will refrain from judging.
Oh God.
What are you gonna do? I'm gonna glue
man.
my head to something. I wouldn't wake up. I wouldn't be more surprised if I woke up tomorrow morning with my head sewn to the carpet. Christmas vacation. I left out the word Eddie just to keep it a mystery for everybody. Yeah, so that's my story with AT&T. God, I hate them so much.
Since I've straightened shit out with them, like I've been on like rinse and repeat for like the last 3 years since COVID began. Like, luckily I got dialed in before then, because if I'd spent any time, I would have lost my motherfucking mind with them. I lost my motherfucking mind with Home Depot during that period of time. I lost my motherfucking mind with Samsung. I lost my mind with some insurance companies.
Sure. Yep.
So you know,
Yeah. I got rid of him. I got rid of him about a month ago because the internet sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in some places they do have gig speed internet, just not where I am.
Not
If
where
they
I
had
am.
if they had it, I would have upgraded, but no option. Hey,
Yeah.
let's talk about. I can't play it back, but I want to talk about Cam Newton for a moment.
oh.
Cam Newton, if you didn't hear, went on a podcast, which apparently is a bad idea if you got some things to say. He did you guys get a chance to listen to this?
No, I read
yeah.
something about it though, right? Like, yeah, I read something.
Yeah.
He's gonna catch a lot of flack. And Cam Newton said, and this is a quote, he said more things, but he said, "Now a woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs."
That's not all he said.
Yeah.
No, that's only part of what he said.
Yeah.
My wife's laughing in the background at that.
Yeah.
What he said, here's the headline: Cam Newton complains about women who can't cook and don't know when to be quiet.
Yeah. That's not all he's that. Of course, that sounds horrible. That sounds totally cavemanish.
Kareem, you and I are both old enough to be around conversations where men have said that.
No. But again, as we
Not
say,
into a microphone.
context matters, and this is one of those times that I hate white people. Because the rest of what he said was about these chicks, because they're out there and they're talking about, I'm a bad bitch and I
Right.
got my own and I do this, that, and the other. And those are the chicks that he's talking about that can't do anything. The only thing they have is pussy. That's it.
So
That's all they
here's-
got.
Here's the quote.
And so what he was saying was he doesn't consider those women as women. They're bad bitches. That's what their game is. He's talking about women like his mother, who he said his parents have been married for 38 years. He's like, he thinks of his mother as a woman because of the relationship that his parents have, and his father takes care of his mother. His mother caters to his father, and he was talking about those women who say, "That's what I am. I'm a bad bitch," but they don't offer anything else.
What he said was, and I quote, "There's a lot of women who are bad bitches." And I say bitches in a way not to degrade a woman, but just to go off the aesthetic of what they deem is a boss chick. He said, now, for a woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs, right? And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of I'm a boss bitch, I'm a this, I'm a that. No, baby, but you can't cook. You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to lead. End quote.
Yes.
My wife doesn't care for that quote, by the way.
And again,
I'm just.
Look again. Again, I bet you your wife doesn't do the shit that the women that he's talking about does either.
Well, but if I were to say my wife doesn't know when to be quiet, I don't think she'd care for that either.
Right, but your wife knows when to be quiet.
Well, we haven't established that.
Huh? It's not about
we haven't even stipulated to that.
No, because that's not about her knowing when to be quiet with you.
So a woman's only value, then, I mean, this is what I take from what he's saying is a woman's only value is if when she's married, she cooks and cleans and takes care of her man. That's the only value she has. That's what I'm getting from what he said.
Because he said the other part that you just left out was him saying that she.
If you asked my wife right now if she was a boss bitch, she would say she's a boss bitch. If you asked her that, she would say that is her aesthetic.
No, your wife wouldn't say that.
Chris, are you a bad bitch? Would you say you're a bad bitch?
No.
Like hashtag boss bitch, but yeah.
There you go. There's the answer right there. That's the fucking answer right there. She just said it. That's exactly what he's talking about. She doesn't want to be identified as one of those people. That's the point. That's the point that he was making. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you making my point for me.
He said you made the point. He said, read Cam Newton's full statement of what he said and tell me what you get from that.
Again, this is no, and he didn't say that the only time a woman has value is if that. He's saying that these women overvalue themselves by saying they're a boss bitch, they can do this and that. Most of the time they don't. They're living off somebody else. When he's saying they don't know when to shut up is when you're in a position to make a move and they're over talking. There's the chicks that end up getting you either shot, killed, or in a fight, or make you lose business or end up in jail because they're still talking where he needs you to be quiet so that he can talk to the police and not end up in fucking jail.
That's right. Men are talking here.
No, it's not men are talking here. Is she's starting a fucking argument that'll end up having you in jail. And again, this is the time that I hate white people because y'all don't understand the seriousness of the situation when it comes to stuff like that.
I see what you're saying. Look, here's the thing about Cam Newton. Cam Newton is allowed to desire any type of family structure that he wants, and the one that he grew up with is the one that he wants to emulate, and that is going to shape who he has in his life. That doesn't bother me at all. I didn't necessarily have an issue with what he was saying. I didn't think it was that smart to say it into a microphone at a time when you are potentially looking for work in the NFL. Because at this point, Cam Newton is 2022 Cam Newton and not 2012 Cam Newton. So it's not going to take that much to be that one thing that makes a team go, maybe not Cam Newton.
But Cam Newton's not necessarily. And here's the other part of it being Cam Newton is what else. he has more money than that. He has enough money that he don't necessarily need you.
Right.
So what are you bringing to the? What are you providing for him otherwise? That's the question. So
yeah, he's made his money. I don't get. I just thought it was a fun story to talk about.
no, and look, I did too. I mean, I was going. If you hadn't brought it up, I was going to talk about it anyway, because it's one of those things where, like, I saw all of these female reporters who hopped on it, and they were all white women, for that specific reason. And it's like, stop talking about shit you don't understand what you're talking about, because you know. And part of it is disingenuous, because I'm like, you've been around enough black people, if you're in the industry, to understand the dynamics of what he was saying, instead of pretending like he was saying something different than what he was meaning, something different than what he was meaning. If the fact that Chris understands it to the point where she's like, she doesn't want to be identified with it, you know that they know.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, I still love you, and I love Chris even more.
I just think that without more clarification of what he's talking about, like, you might say, like, people just know what he's talking about, but there's a large percentage of people that don't. And in this time right now, there's a lot of people that are trying to push this idea that, like, you know, we need to return to American values, the family values, you know, and there these people are corrupting our children, and gay men and lesbian. Listen, men. David Mamet said it. If they're teachers, are predispositioned to be pedophiles. Because they're men, they're going to be pedophiles if they're teachers. David Mamet said that this last week. Like, this idea. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, when you have this type of this world that we're living in right now, like that
So,
like, I'm fine if that's what you want your values to be, but at the same time, like, I don't know.
So here's the deal. You want to have those conversations and pretend like the people that he's talking about don't exist. You want to have these conversations about like there's not like
I know that. Listen, I know there's gold diggers.
But
I mean,
but this is how y'all want to have the conversation. You want to have the conversation and pretend like he's making this shit up out of whole cloth, like these people don't exist. That there's not, like, for every man that you hear saying the stuff that he said that actually does mean it the way that you're worried about. There are women that are lined up having the same conversations from the standpoint of what he's trying to say, that's not what he wants. And it's not like they're not like an anomaly. It's a whole shitload of them. There's a cottage industry of them, and like I said,
I get it. I get it.
remember what they were doing for benefits when I was in the Air Force, so I know they doing a whole bunch of shit. A whole bunch more shit for somebody who has 50 to 100 million, who's made over $100 million in the NFL.
I mean, you've been on Instagram. You've seen them. You know.
Exactly.
You may even follow them with your anonymous Instagram account. Jason.
I don't need to hide anything.
Hey, Kareem, I got a question for you. What's going on with North Carolina? Apparently, a Trump rally there drew fewer than 2,000 people.
People are tired, man. It's a lot of work to be angry all the time about nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just Trump though. Madison Cawthorn was there, apparently fresh off of seeing people do a key bump at an orgy. Congressional hopeful Bo Hines.
A bunch of fucking clowns.
But Trump, 70-year-old, or what did they have, like Viagra in a candy dish when you walk in?
Maybe. Yeah. Well, if they're doing key bumps, then they've got plenty of energy for 70.
And somebody said the only people that know that word are the people that actually do it.
Well, I mean,
man, you lived through the fucking 80s or watched Snowfall, you know what a key bump is.
Yeah, I mean it's
I
in
mean-
popular culture. So
Now, I mean, like with Snowfall being, on TV. I mean, I'm watching that. Man, that show is kind of. I've only watched 4 episodes of it, man, but that's kind of nuts. Um,
That's
Have you
Jason's
watched it?
story. He's sticking to it.
have you guys heard it? Have you guys seen
Yeah.
Snowfall? Yeah.
no.
It's just about the beginning of the crack epidemic in LA, in like the CIA and the African American, like all the people that are involved. Like, I think it's fictional though. I don't believe it. Is it real? Is it? It's fictional, right?
It's fictional.
fictional.
It's based off of Rick Ross.
Rick Ross, yeah.
Yeah, but it's fictional. Yeah.
But the show I like to talk about real quick is Atlanta. This 3rd season. Have you guys watched any of them yet? Have you guys seen any of the episodes or anything?
Yeah.
Okay, like episode 4. Like, I don't know if they're just gonna do this like every other episode, or there's gonna be like 1 episode that's like a vignette, and then 2 that are kind of like Donald Glover and that troupe, and then another episode that's a vignette without any of them in it, and then 2 more like for the rest of the season. I don't know if that's how the season's gonna go, but the 4th episode is another vignette. So the first one, the first vignette, the first episode was referencing the woman, the 2 lesbians that drove the black kids off the cliff.
Yeah.
That's what the first episode was about. But it was from the point of view of a young boy who gets taken away from his parents because his grandfather slapped him at school 3 times. But it was like a light slap. It wasn't a hard slap. And it was like ridiculous. But everybody reacted the way they did. He got taken from... His mom thought he called the CPS. So she's, oh, you want to take him? Go ahead, take him. Go ahead, take him. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna see what's happened to the white people. Like, they're gonna kill you. Like, that's what they kept telling him like the whole time. Those white people are gonna kill you. So he gets dropped off at this house, and it's these 2 lesbian women, and it's all like they're all vegan and raw food, and like one of the kids is definitely sick, and all that kinds of other stuff's going on. And anyhow, the kid escapes. All the kids escape because it's a fantasy. And I think that's what he was trying to show, is that it's like this is how this would be a good ending for us, in a way, for not my people, but for his people, that would have been a plus. And the kid was able to go home, and the 3 other kids were found. The 4th episode, I think, is probably one of the few things that I've seen in my life that one set of people are going to see it as horror, and one set of people are going to see it as a fairy tale come true. And it's where the Reparations Act becomes law, and people start suing individuals that had slaves or had family members that had slaves. And it's just about how it all goes. I mean, it's about just following one white guy at the beginning of his day, showing how he wakes up, everything goes on, and seems like a normal, like me. Basically, I needed to take me when I was working in the insurance group, when I was doing, and watch. But I've been maybe recently divorced, and just watches like how it goes, and once again, another episode. It just is like he's doing some great stuff. I mean, I would recommend watching. If you can figure out how to watch it some way, download it, whatever. Those 2 episodes are amazing, like just in themselves, like especially the last one, because I haven't seen something like that really. Like, I mean, I knew that there's the John Travolta movie, right? White Man's Burden, which was just a remake, right? And then there was like Last Black Man in San Francisco, kind of. I mean, not the same, but kind of. I mean, just like that off-kill, like that fantasy type of thing, almost.
Yeah.
And then what's that? Sorry to Bother You. That one just gets absurd. But I mean, there's just these films that are being made right now, and this stuff that's really engaging. So I definitely would say to see that.
By the way, we had another celebrity death today. If you missed that, Gilbert Gottfried passed away at 67.
Oh man, that's right.
I was just looking at the celebrity deaths this year. We've lost a ton of people. From serious actors and trailblazers like Sidney Poitier, Howard Hessman from WKRP. We lost in the past 3 months. Gilbert Gottfried, Louis Anderson, and Bob Saget have all passed away. So it's been great. I saw that it's a quote unquote long running illness that he had, but I saw that today and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, we're all supposed to know about why Jada Pinkett Smith shaves her head, uh, but I didn't know about Gilbert Gottfried, so I didn't know about her alopecia either. And by the way, good for Chris Rock for holding out for the bag, not being like just flapping his gums about what happened. He's like, no, someone's gonna have to pay me before I'm going to talk about it,
Way to go, Chris.
right? And has there been a weaker punishment for something than Will Smith's 10-year ban from the Oscars, which doesn't include having to give back the Oscar that he won? He can still be nominated and he can still win Academy Awards. He just can't go to the ceremony where comedians are going to make fun of his wife.
He might not want to go for a while.
Right? I mean, he may not want to watch because it's
Yeah.
not going to be good.
No, it's going to be horrible.
Right? It's
Yeah.
going to be bad times for Will Smith. I mean, not necessarily any worse than you know, the what's actually happening in his personal life. I mean, you don't come out with that anger just based on Chris Rock. That was kind of a deep-seated thing. So
You need to get a divorce.
it's who knows?
If you get a chance, watch the Earthquake on the Breakfast Club, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a very interesting thing. But yeah, the celebrity. I'm looking at Entertainment Weekly EW.com, and the celebrity deaths. There've been 64 that they count. Although they counted Robert Durst, who's really more of a murderer than anything.
What? You
mean,
can't include him
look,
on the fucking celebrity. That's
he's a
fucked. dude.
celebrity murderer.
Jason, he had his own TV show. Now at the end of it,
Yeah.
he confessed the murder on a hot mic in the bathroom. But still,
The only
he had
reason
his
they
own
had
HBO show.
the only reason they had an HBO show was like the guy was like, "Man, we didn't get fucking anything on this." Like, guy was like, "Guarantee it." You like had all this footage, just putting everything together. He's like, "Man, I haven't got fucking nothing. I'm on this last interview. Fuck, dude, this sucks."
I mean, we lost Wavy Navy Poo.
Oh,
I-
yeah,
Wavy Navy Poo is on this list as well.
yeah.
Look, I don't know all of them. I mean, sure, I know Meatloaf and Louis Anderson, and I don't. About half of them, I have no idea who they are. Ivan Reitman's another one that was a very
yeah,
big
that's
name that we
right.
lost.
Hmm.
You forget so quickly. It's like, oh, that was the amazing Jonathan, who has been fighting stuff for quite some time. Yeah, weird year. Very weird year.
Speaking of fighting stuff, sometime I have my consult for my colonoscopy on the 4th.
Okay.
So I'll make sure we're all good down there
And up there,
and up there.
down there, around there. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole
Yes.
thing, bro.
It's a whole thing. And everyone of a certain age should do it, or with risk factors. But yeah, that's it. Well, we're coming to the end of the show. We've managed to make it through a full podcast with no sound elements, and that's perfectly fine. I thought it was a fine show.
Actually, it was
Well
pretty
worth-
good without it.
Well worth your money. And I had a microphone failure, a lack of equipment, and I've been holding this son of a bitch the whole time.
Oh man,
Oh,
Right?
wow.
This is not a handheld microphone, by the way,
no, it's not.
at all.
It sounds great though.
Yeah, it's a great mic. I love this mic. It's a wonderful sounding mic, but it's not meant to be handheld, and I had to hold it. But that's what we do for the love of the game and going forward. So any final words from you fine gentlemen before we wrap this puppy up?
To get back to HBO Max, I watched
Yes, sir.
2 really crazy docuseries that started in the last couple of weeks. One was The Invisible Pilot. If you haven't watched it, watch it, because I don't want to talk about it until you at least watch the first episode, because otherwise it'll it'll be a spoiler. So
Okay.
you guys get a chance, watch it. Shit's crazy. And then and then there was the disappearance of, I think it was Stephanie Wall. I can't remember her first name, but it's on HBO Max. Do not go on a submarine with a rich white billionaire.
Done.
Period.
I won't do that.
Do not do it. Who builds his own? No, not just who builds his own submarine. Don't do it.
Oh, well, that's the key factor, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
don't do it.
he rented the Atlantis, submarine, and that you have at the major ports. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, I know.
Look, and unless you're a billionaire, don't go down in a submarine and come back up without the other person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a national park. You bring out what you brought in.
Yes.
You gotta
No,
do it
she
that
got
way.
out. She decided to get her own ride home.
Right.
No, she got a pod of killer whales coming by. Like, she's like, bye.
Just
Things to watch, HBO. That's the last thing I'll say. Tony Hawk. There's a Tony Hawk documentary on there about him from when he was all
Hawk
like,
doc.
Hawk doc. Yep.
Hawk doc.
Hawk doc. And it was great. I mean, I knew he was from San Diego and whatnot. But I also didn't know that like he'd been like the way that they just talk about how he was nothing. Like he was like this gangly kid that was no good at sports really, and like wasn't interested in doing anything and stuff like that. And then got on a skateboard and wasn't even really that good at it, but had this determination, just did shit over and over and over and over again. And they illustrate that at the very beginning of it was a really good documentary. It's one of those things where it ends as it begins, in a way. Like it had a really good way of wrapping everything up and circling back. So
I added that one to my list too.
yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, like I watched it kind of like because I've grown up with Tony Hawk. Like I've grown up watching him as a person that I've looked up to because he's 6 years older than me, 7 years older than me, and this guy's pulling 900s off of a half pipe still, bro. Come on, a 900 on a like to say that that's not impressive as fuck, dude. Like in his 50s, like fuck, man. So, and to see him fall over and over and over again and still get back up and do it. Could you imagine falling? I can't imagine falling at my age off of a half pipe after going 7 feet in the air while trying to do a 900 degree spin. It just goes to show like the how amazing it is and how much he brought to that sport. It brought me back to being a kid and thinking about him. So, he talks about his CDs. CDs nuts.
Oh,
I got Nate. Nate, did I get you, Nate? Did you almost see it coming or not see it coming?
Like a tornado across the Midwest. I saw it coming.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, it came.
Look, man. It's been your thing, and you found a way to get it in. If people haven't been paying attention,
That's what she said.
Jason's been sneaking that one in for several weeks now. So there you go. I don't have anything. Oh, so two legal things, just real quick. It came out. Liz Cheney said that they have enough evidence to refer Donald Trump for criminal prosecution for January 6th. To which I say, then fucking do it.
If Merrick Garland does not prosecute him, I am glad that they didn't let him get seated on the Supreme Court.
If you got enough evidence, fucking do it.
Yes.
Because we want a little bit of justice. Also, not only is Elon Musk not going to be on the board of directors at Twitter. Sorry, Lauren Boebert, he can't save free speech for you. Also, you don't know what free speech is or how it works, despite being a member of Congress. But now they are saying, I just saw this story, that he may have in fact violated some laws when with his whole buy up of 9% of the Twitter stock. Let me just be really clear. Let me be really clear about this for anybody who's not aware. Elon Musk is not a good guy. He isn't. He's a rich guy. He's a quirky guy. He's been involved in some pretty cool things. He's not a good guy.
He's the kind of guy who would take a woman up on a spaceship and come back without her and pretend like he didn't.
No, I mean, come on, man. We always have had these titans of industry, right? That are like these guys that like aren't necessarily, didn't make it themselves necessarily, but have written on the coattails of other people and gotten what they have. Like, you know, Rockefeller.
Can we please stop looking at rich guys and go and saying, please, rich man, can you come and save us from X?
They're not, if they can, they just move to Mars without us. It takes just enough of us to maintain a population that they could control there to take care of them.
There aren't a lot of rich guys that are looking to save people from things. There are a few. But Mark Cuban said it perfectly when he explained to Jon Stewart why he invests heavily in minority-owned businesses. And it's not because he necessarily is looking to do good or make a difference, although I believe he is. But the real reason that he does it is because it makes financial sense for him to do so. He's looking at the demographics. Black and brown people are going to make up the majority of the country in a very short period of time. So he is getting in with those minority-owned businesses because at the end of the day, it makes good business sense for him to do so. That's what rich people care about. Does it make good business sense for me to do it? And is it going to make me money? Now, there are exceptions and to varying degrees. But please, this is how we ended up with President Apprentice. You had a bunch of people who wanted to say, please, rich guy, won't you save us from crooked Hillary? That's what we got. That's it.
Yeah. And remember, I said last week, $26 billion over 20 years we've lost to racism.
Yep. It's expensive.
And
but people seem to like it. So, I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's just not going anywhere. And by the way, I really hope Tennessee gets that wall to keep Mississippi and Alabama out.
Yeah, seriously. They deserve it.
And with that, we will bid you adieu. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.